So after reading the article by Amos Frisch, where he basically tries to analyze what were some of the considerations of the various commentators in the Middle Ages, he comes up with an interesting thesis which I think has a lot of repercussions and a lot of implications for the way we teach these texts to this day. And what Frisch says is the following. He says there were three factors that the Jewish commentators had to deal with when they were confronting some of the problematic behavior of the biblical characters. So first of all, there's the biblical narrative, the text itself. In other words, the text presents certain kinds of questions, certain kinds of problematic or questionable behavior. So you have to deal with that issue as it appears in the biblical text. Two, you have to deal with the question of the didactic value of defending the honor of the nation's ancestors. In other words, as he argues there, I think quite convincingly, we have to think what are the implications of if we totally criticize the biblical characters. That has an impact not only in terms of our understanding of the text, but these are still part of the ancestry. This is all part of the mythos of the Jewish people, and therefore the biblical commentators had to somehow balance the questions that they had about the text with this sense of commitment to the tradition, commitment to the characters that appear in the text, who are not only literary characters, but obviously carry a lot more weight in terms of the Jewish tradition and in terms of the Jewish nation for many generations to come. And finally, he says that you have to be able to mediate between the biblical text and the Talmudic sages, who frequently defended the patriarchs. His claim is an interesting one, where he believes that there's a significant difference between the way the Bible presented these characters and afterwards the way the rabbis in the Talmudic text defended their actions. In other words, his claim is that for a variety of reasons which he explains in the article, Frisch believes that the Talmudic rabbis had to offer very strong defense of many of the actions of the biblical characters. This wasn't always the case, but in the majority of cases, according to Frisch, the Talmudic rabbis tried to defend the actions of the biblical characters. And finally, we have one more issue which Frisch raises, which I think carries a lot of relevance, again, not only for the teaching of biblical characters, but for a variety of other topics that we're teaching in Jewish studies. And that's the tension between reverence and truth. Clearly, this echoes the issues that we talked about beforehand in terms of commitment and critique, but reverence in terms of the text itself. The text as a living document. We want our students to have a certain kind of respect, appreciation. At the same time, we clearly want to help them come to an understanding of what the truth is that the text tries to convey. So once again, we have the tension between reverence on the one hand and truth on the other hand. And what I'd like to invite you to do is to read the article and to refer to the questions which we have included in this program in order for you to be able to understand more deeply some of Frisch's arguments, to think critically about what you feel he is relating to and your view on these, and finally, what the implications are for the teaching of biblical characters in our various educational settings. Thank you.